Well, hey guys, this is Max from Making Apps, and welcome to our first tutorial. Uh, it's about verifying your idea. And before we start, I should warn you, as you know from the introduction, it's a very essential part in our way to success, so you should really precisely follow the steps I'll provide you with in this lesson. Otherwise, you may come up with an app that you don't actually want. Well, let's begin. We assume that you already have some thoughts on what you are willing to make, but basically if you don't, following words are for you. First, take a notebook. No, really take a notebook. If you don't do stuff I'm telling you, you won't come up with anything useful. Okay, I hope now you took it out. So right now write down some problems you've faced before in, say, last few months, for example, insomnia or a problem of choosing a new computer. And remember the way you solve these problems. Write down the way you solved it. And here's it. You got the idea for an app. You could make an app about how to solve this problem. Pretty simple, and that was one of the many, but for sure the simplest way to develop an idea. And since we have an app idea, it's time for the fun part. Now we're gonna check it. We'll have to answer 9 questions I made. These questions are based on a smart planner. Remember, app idea isn't able to answer 2 of them, or there are some questions that are yes or no questions. So if at least 2 of them you cannot answer, or the answer is no, then it's time to think about some other idea. You can always invent it with the way I showed you just before. After thousands of apps were submitted into App Store, we can definitely consider many of them were about to fail even before the beginning of the development process. Mission for those developers was impossible because of a simple thing. They didn't answer these 9 simple questions. What is your goal? What will you do? What will it work? Who involved? What's the price? When? Any threats, criteria, and who wins? Sounds pretty short, but it's really worth it. Back to the times when there were no apps, but pirates, there is a good example we're going to use in our tutorial. Let's call it an expedition to the Dead Man's Chest project. Well, the first question is a goal. What is your goal? Yeah. Sounds banal, but every project must have a goal. Any goal from making $1 million to building your portfolio, but there's definitely must be one. Otherwise, the development process would take like a ship without a landmark, seeking through the sea forever. Goals are criteria that can tell us whether we're going to the right way at any stage of development. Here we come to our pirates. What is the goal of expedition to the Dead Man's Chest? It is to discover an unknown treasure and become incredibly rich. The second question. What will you do? Answer to the second question should define the things we have to achieve to reach the goal. If you're common with economics, you'll know that every company should have short and long-term goals. Otherwise, it's about which qualities should the app have to satisfy our answer to the first question. Now pirates time. What? Equip the Black Pearl, the ship, hire the crew, get to the treasure island, find the treasure, excavate the treasure, and get back safe. Here we come to the third question. Will it work? Here we have a question that's closely related to both of our previous questions. We should decide whether our short-term aims lead us to our mighty goal or not. Whether the answer to your second question leads to the goal you posed in the first question. And here's about the pirates. Why? Because we are sure that treasure exists. No one excavated it before. There are a lot of gold inside the chest. The map is telling truth, I can trust the crew, and there won't be any storms before the storm season. So these are the reasons why the things the pirate will do to reach the goal will work. And by the way, a lot of ships crashed because they didn't answer this question. By ships, I mean the projects or apps. Next question, the fourth one. Who's involved? Who's in? All these people are in. Developers, the guy who ordered the app, testers, or even those images whose images you downloaded. Each side has its own hidden motives that can influence their project realization. Again, back to economics, we can call these people stakeholders. And pirates. Let the United Pirates Commune be our sponsor. Captain Jack Arrow, project leader. Linus, our navigator. John Silver, friend that's always suggesting something. And you should always know the motives, the way people's motives, to know how it may influence the project. I hope you understand how important it is. And now we come to the money. Money, yeah. How much? What's the price? No, it's not for money, yeah. So we should determine at least approximately how much with all expenses, such as hiring a designer, ad campaign, and anything else, it's going to cost. If you decide to spend an absolute zero on your creation, there will be some options, I promise, because in marketing tutorials and in-app creation tutorials, I'll show free ways to create your app and free ways to market it. Really, wait for these tutorials, they're really coming soon. And again, boom, boom, we come to our pirates. Yeah, pirates have simple math. Crew takes 10% of the treasure. Food for the trip costs something, and we have to pay some golden coins for the government ships to ignore us. Yeah, the timing, some dynamite, some clocks, kitchen timer, yeah. So, here's a quote by Phil Brooks. When a task cannot be partitioned because of sequential constraints, the application of more effort has no effect on the schedule. The bearing of a child takes 9 months, no matter how many women are assigned. Many software tasks have characteristic because of the sequential nature of debugging. That's basically quite confusing quote, but really useful. And also, he gave us an amazing formula that for a known reason isn't often used. I'll post this formula in the comments. By the way, it's also a useful formula to use a conception stage. And still, if you didn't understand the quote, on my website, I have the full text of this tutorial, and then there, under the sixth question, you can read the quote to understand it, really, because it's really cool. Hey, and I have personally my own favorite quotes list, and it's there. Well, moving on. Problems or threats, yeah. It's all about risks. We should remember that running away from the risk is a no-win proposition. Risks and profits are always walking side by side. It's a quote by Tom DeMarco. Informally, risks are possible problems and problems are materialized risks. But we should always remember that without risks, no business. There is no business. And in app development, risks are requirements do not exist, are not full, or are often modified. So it's like, I want to add this, I want to add that, and you don't have like certain criteria. And the next question is about criteria, basically. Then we could have no continuous compression with the goal. That's basically also a threat, because if we are going in the wrong way, we could not define it. Then not enough resources or experience that could ruin anything, and not enough planning or some forgotten stages. That's could ruin some projects. Here we come to the 8th questions. It's about criteria. And as you know from the previous question, criteria should exist. So we could always compare our project with the thing we want to achieve. And it's really important to have criteria because I'll give you an example. When I created my first app, it took me over 6 months to make it. And like 90% of it was made after like 1 or 2 months. And the problem is that I didn't know what to do. Yeah, and every time I finished the app, yeah, I said, oh, that'd be cool to add something more. And for 4 months, I was adding and adding and adding just because I didn't have the certain things I have to reach to finish the app. So I really recommend you to have criteria. Oh yeah, and now we come to who wins. Like pretty clear. So it's so simple that's the shortest question and description of all. So we should win, and output or profit should overcome the input or resources. And pirates they don't think a lot. The treasure cost should overcome the expedition expenses. So these 9 questions are the ones that need to be answered. Believe me, that's only better for you if you do bother a little with these questions. Later, you'll thank yourself, promise, really. And now I remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, read our posts on our website, and see you in the next video.